to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back. It is once again early on a Sunday morning, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And so it's been kind of a busy week here at Patriot Defense. We just kind of getting ready for some different things. Well, first of all, I hope all you guys are doing well. It's like I program what I'm going to say in my head, and it just comes out, and it doesn't sound real natural. It sounds like I've programmed myself to say this. I don't want to sound like a freaking AI. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a good week and preparing for, enjoying your spring, preparing for your summer, getting out, spending a little time on the range. Now is the time to go and pick up that ammo. Like if you're going to go and you're going to shoot all summer, and maybe you're going to go take some classes all summer, now is the time to go and stock up on ammo. Prices aren't horrible. I don't know what's going to happen with them. We got all these tariffs and whatnot. I don't know. Is the price of ammo going to go up? Got me. But, it could. So, very well, go out and purchase what you want now. If you purchase it all now, you don't have to worry about it during the summer, and then you can go out and shoot whenever you want during the summer. It's pretty simple at that point. It's easier to take classes when you have all the ammo already. It doesn't seem like it's as big. It is, but it doesn't seem like it's as big of a initial upfront cost when you do go sign up for something, or you do want to take the family out to go shooting. So especially if you got little kids, get them out there on those 22s, man. Get them out there. Let them spend some time on the range. Let them get some trigger time in. Now is the time. Don't miss that opportunity. So what has been going on here at Patriot Defense? I just had some private classes. I had the academy classes. I have those every week. Everything's going pretty well. It could be busier. It could always be busier, but everything's going pretty well. I oftentimes before I do a podcast, I think on it during the week, but oftentimes I'm sitting here right here in the studio, staring at the microphone, staring at the board, and I'm just like, okay, what am I going to talk about today? Right? And usually it's based on past experiences or things that have happened in my classes, things that I see. This week's two women's academies, they've got two split playing cards. Now, if you're on the social media, you saw that. It's where you take a playing card, a card of some. It could even be a business card, but playing cards work great. You cut a little slit in the cardboard target backer, and you slide the playing card in there, and to where you're just looking at that edge, not the face of it, not the back of it, but you're just looking at that edge. That's all you see. And the whole idea of it, if you haven't done it, is to split that card in half. Now, you have to focus really hard on the edge of that card, and when the bullet hits it, it will actually split that card into two pieces, and it's pretty fun. And most people see it like this year's group saw it, and they're like, "Oh, like I'm not going to be able to do that. Like, there's no way." And I'm going to tell you that you can. I don't think I have had a class. Maybe there might have been one or two, but I don't recall off the top of my head. But I don't think I've had a class where someone hasn't been able to split that card, to split that playing card into two pieces. It just takes a little bit of time. And I was discussing with the class the other day. They were talking about, why can I do this? Why can I do that? How does this work? And we were talking about this whole playing card thing and the whole aim small, miss small mentality. Why can I give someone a bullseye target? And they'll hit the bullseye every now and then, but maybe they're newer to shooting and their shots are a little more spread out. But then I can put a playing card up there, and there's a really good chance they're going to go ahead and they're going to split that card. Even though they think they're not going to, there's a really good chance that they're going to be able to do it. Why is that? It's the aim small, miss small type of thinking. So I give someone a bullseye target, and I say, this is a bullseye target. Everyone knows how they work. You want to put your rounds right in that center bullseye. But the brain also sees that entire piece of paper as the target because it is, right? It's the bullseye target. And so I think what happens is people fail to really well, I know this is what happens. They fail to really slow down and focus in on those fundamentals. They fail to make that super precise shot because even though they're not hitting the bullseye, and that might frustrate them a little bit, they're hitting the piece of paper and it makes them feel good. It's like they have a bigger target. Where if I take a playing card and I turn it on the edge, right, and I turn it on the edge, then they're just, from as far away as they are, they're just they're not looking at this big, whatever piece of paper is, 9 by 12 or 13 or whatever it is. They're not looking at that full piece of paper as a target. They're looking at the edge, that razor edge of that playing card. And it's the aim small, miss small. And so they hyper focus in on the edge of that. And to make that work, you can't just sit there and just start sending rounds down range as quickly as you can. You really got to focus. And that slows everything else down. That slows that trigger press. It makes sure they have to have everything else absolutely perfect. Now, I'm not saying these students hit the edge of that playing card on the very, very first shot, because most of them do not. In fact, a lot of them don't. But they are focusing in on that razor's edge, which is a lot smaller than that bullseye, which isn't backed by that giant piece of paper that their brain views as the entire target. They're just focused in on the edge. So that's why, if I explained it well, that's why they're able to hit that. They've slowed way down. Their focus has just gotten narrower, a lot narrower, and that's why they're able to hit that. That's my explanation of it. That's what makes sense to me, and I've been thinking about it for quite a while, and because it's funny how it works. I could take someone who maybe isn't the best shooter, they're learning, but they're not great, and they can split a playing card. And when they are able to split that playing card, and they just told me that they were unable to do so, their confidence level gets this massive boost, goes through the roof, and I think overall that's how you become a better shooter, right? You give yourself challenges, you prove to yourself that you can do it. Then I talked to him about, okay, well, when you split that card, right, you really had to focus in. You really had to dial in those fundamentals. You really had to slow down. You really had to focus on that trigger press. Remember what that felt like. Do you remember what that felt like? Because that's exactly what you got to do over here. Then once you get that down and you start to hone in on that, and then it's, how can I do that faster? How can I do that faster? So that's kind of what I took away from that. That's what I was talking to the classes about. And it's a pretty interesting concept if you think about it. Aim small, miss small. You can do more than you think you can do. You just have to be forced to slow down and focus. There's some people I see them shoot too, and it's like they don't get it. It's like they can't make themselves slow down. They can't bring that focus tight. And I think when you switch over and you do something like this, it really helps a lot. Even more than my 50-50 drill that I love so much. The brain knows when the gun is loaded. The brain knows when the gun is unloaded. So some people, it doesn't really work because they just automatically go, well, it's unloaded. There's no reason to flinch. Oh, it's loaded. Now I'm going to flinch no matter what, even though I can do a dry fire, which is still important, even though I can do a dry fire flawlessly. But when I give them, I say the gun is loaded and I give them something smaller to aim at, they can hit it. And I tell you what's fantastic is the ladies or the students that hit it with a 22 round, because the 22 round is so freaking small, right? And then on top of it, you give someone, you don't give someone, but you have someone cut the card in two, and they're shooting a dot. Well, when they're shooting a dot, you just got, depending on the reticle, right? Most reticles, most people just use the little red dot. That is so small in itself. And they're able to split the card using that dot, which is pretty cool. Because when you have a new shooter, one of the biggest complaints is, and they're shooting a dot, is that dot moves all over the place. I can't get it to settle down. And then they go ahead and they split that card. So that's a pretty good feat, and I just have to tell them, hey, aim small, miss small. Focus on what you did and how it felt to split that card and what you did to achieve that. And all you got to do is transfer it back over to that other paper. So it's just a stepping stone. It boosts their confidence. It shows them that, yes, they can do it. And then people just kind of go from there and kind of grow from there. So anyhow, that's my card splitting story. I just kind of rambled on that, but it is what it is. So we had, I had my elite group show up yesterday morning, would have been Saturday, and we did a lot of, that's all we did actually. We had them draw and shoot from a seated position, which is, if you're going to carry or if you carry your gun every day, right? You spend a good portion of your day sitting. A lot of us spend a lot of our day sitting. Whether it be in the car, whether it be at a desk somewhere, whatever it is, you might be at a restaurant for lunch, for dinner, for breakfast, whatever, and you might not be able to slide out of that restaurant booth or get out from behind that desk when you've got to use your firearm and defend yourself. Like, it's a real thing, right? And so you need to be able to know how to draw and fire from a seated position. Now, this isn't a really groundbreaking anything. It's actually pretty simple. And the point of it was not to make it a challenge. The point of it was to just have done it before, to get out and experience. And it's really easy. Just take a card table, take a folding chair, whatever it is, and learn how to draw and how to, go out and experience it. Draw from that seated position. Fire from that seated position. Fire multiple targets from that seated position. You're going to find out a few things, right? First of all, you're going to experience it, which is what you need to do. You're going to find out if your holster is going to work for that. You're going to find out if your holster position is going to work for that. And I'm going to tell you right now that appendix carry by far is going to probably become the champion when it comes to that, especially if you're sitting in a car and you've got a seatbelt on. That draw from appendix. Now, all the guys yesterday, I put the video up on Facebook. You can check it out. All the guys on in the class yesterday, they were drawing from appendix, and I bet you that none of them would want to change. I mean, that's the perfect position to carry in. If you're going to draw and fire, have to draw and fire from a seated position. It just is. And I get that. I'm going to go on the holster kick for just a little bit too. Again, so many people, I can't carry this holster. I can't appendix carry. You just have to work with it. You have to modify the holster. You have to be dedicated enough that you're willing to do whatever you need to do to make your holster work and make a holster work for appendix carry. If that means you got to get out the heat gun, get it out. If that means you got to put Velcro and padding on it, foam, do that. If that means you got to tape the sharp edges down, do that. If that means you got to get the drill press out or get the drill out and drill a few more holes in it and adjust your clip and have lots of options for moving your holster clip up and down, that might mean you have to go buy new holster clips, different styles, do different things. So there's a way to do it, but I really encourage the appendix carry. It's so much more beneficial and so many things. It just really, really is in all situations. It's easier to defend. It's quicker to get your gun out. You can do it from a seated position. I mean, it's a more defendable spot for your firearm. So many times I'm in town and I see people that are carrying smaller back. Folks, don't carry smaller back. That is a horrible way to carry a gun. I can see it. Everyone in the store can see it. Your shirt rides up over it and gets stuck behind it, and then everyone sees it. You can't defend it. Don't do that. That's lazy carry right there. Carrying smaller back, or what we call SOB carry, that is lazy. That is pure lazy carry. When you carry, you need to be able to defend it. You need to be able to get to it. It needs to be done properly. It needs to stay concealed unless you're purposely open carrying. Figure it out. Make it work. I mean, just come on. It's time to be, you're carrying a gun on your person every day. It's time to be serious about it and just kind of cut out all the bullshit. Quit trying to half-ass it because it doesn't work that way. You can't just half-ass it. I've seen lots of crazy, crazy things that I've tried to get pictures of. Some I have, some I haven't. You've all seen the pictures on the internet. Just, man, learn how to do it and do it right and get yourself a proper holster. There is no excuse for that. Also, to get out that little rant there, the elite group that showed up, we did extra what I've been talking about. So I had them stay after. This is not part of their class. They just happened to be here, and they just happened to be willing to join in. And we did what I call carry fit. And that's not my trademark term or anything like that. It's been used before. But I've got kind of I'm not some big ripped guy, and I'm not going to, win any weightlifting championships or fitness competitions or anything. But I have like 7 or 8 years CrossFit under my belt. So I have a little bit of a history in CrossFit. I know the movements. I know some different things. And so I combined that with shooting. Now, this wasn't like go out and work out and then come back and run a course type shooting. It was just, it may get to that point. But what it was let's see what it's like to shoot with tired arms, tired shoulders, and with the elevated heart rate. So like you're out of breath, because not very many people will go out and experience that. They just won't. So what we did, and I'm going to kind of explain this, what we did is I had what we call the shooting wad or shooting workout type thing. And I have all these different sizes sandbags, and I filled them with sand, different weights. And you had to start. We used the trigonometry target that I created. So it is 4 rows of 7 circles in each row. And you've heard me talk about it before. You get one shot at each circle. And a lot of people have trouble with this target just on a normal day, right? And these guys that I had in the elite group, they're pretty good shots, really good shooters, actually, and they can clean those all day long. There's 7, 14, 21, 28 circles, right? And so what we did is we would do one movement or one workout and then run down, pick up the gun. Now, we're not wearing our guns on us. We leave them on the tables at this point. Run down, pick up the gun, shoot 7 rounds. Take your time. You don't want to take your time so much that your heart rate comes down, but they shoot 7 rounds. And hopefully, the whole idea was to see how you react out of breath and with tired arms and tired shoulders. And hopefully, it would get progressively worse. So, the first one we had to do is before we went and shot, we had to do over the shoulder bag toss. So I have these big sandbags, and I don't have all the equipment I need, so we kind of had to make do. Different weights of sandbags. You pick up the sandbag, kind of drag it up your front, roll it over your shoulder, drop it behind you, and then turn around and do it again. And we had to do that 10 times. Then you went down and you had to shoot 7 rounds. And then you had to come back up and you had to do shuttle sprints. Now, these shuttle sprints, there's a lot of different names for running lines, suicides, whatever you want to call them. I don't even know how. I'm trying to think here. So that would be 25, we'll say 30. It was probably around 35, 40-ish yards. So shuttle sprint from one end of that. So from one end of that to the other. And so we had to do that 25 times. And the goal was to have you do that as quickly as you can. We're each different fitness levels. And so we each did it at a different speed. The goal was just to do whatever you needed to do to get your heart rate up and be honest with yourself, right? And so we had to do that 25 times. That was pretty killer. I like to run, and the shuttle sprints, I actually really like shuttle sprints. But that was kind of challenging. So we did that, and we're doing this kind of on our own. We're not all shooting at the same time. So like if you get done before someone, then you go down and shoot and come back and start something else. So we have over the shoulder bag toss 10 times, shoot 7 rounds, run back up, shoot out of the range, 25 shuttle sprints, run back down to the range, pick your gun up, 7 more rounds. Then we had overhead carry. Came back up, and you had to press up, whether it be a sandbag. I had a full 45, like a 60-pound bar, or 45-pound bar with 10 plates on it. And then I had some 45-pound plates, 2 of those. And we had to grab those and press them above your head. And so it's overhead carry. And then walk that the length of that 35 yards 6 times, right? Had to press them up over your head and walk that 6 times. So that was pretty interesting. That really weighed down on your shoulders. I grabbed the 45. I think most of us did. Pressed them up over our head and walked that. That made your shoulders burn. And after that, you dropped that. You ran down, shot 7 more rounds. Then you came back up, and then you had to bear hug one of those sandbags. I don't care what weight you wanted to go. You could have bear hugged one of the plates. You couldn't carry it on your shoulder. You don't want to carry it over your head. You have to pick it up. You have to hold it against your chest, and you had to walk 6 lengths of like 30, I think it's 35, 40 yards, whatever it is. The length of my grass out here, if you've never been out here. I've got a little grassy area, and we just went the length of that. You had to do that 6 times. Bear hug. Now, if you set the sandbag down, that was fine in the middle and dropped it. You could rest and pick it back up and go again. The goal is to push it up. Then you had to run down and shoot 7 more rounds. Now, our targets all ended up pretty good, which I knew they probably would. They got a little wonky. I pulled 2 shots. James pulled 2 shots. I believe Jeremy pulled a few. I don't have their targets right in front of me. I think Nick did some as well. And we all learned different things. First of all, we learned that if we do this again, which we will do this again, it's a really good workout on top of shooting. It's kind of fun. If you like to shoot and you want to work out, it's kind of fun to mix the two, right? And it's, like I said, I'm not the first person to do that. It's been done before, but that was great. Wear yourself out. Now, we all learned different things about ourselves. For me, and I'm just speaking me personally, okay, I don't know. The other guys aren't here to let us know. Maybe I'll get them on and they can tell us what they think. But for me personally, I was able to. I've spent years doing this just with running and CrossFit and whatnot. I was able to go down and control my breathing. You didn't want to go there and wait for your heart rate to come down. You wanted to immediately pick up your gun and start shooting because you want to be able to shoot with that elevated heart rate. I was able to control it pretty well to where my shots were pretty accurate. I will say the one thing that bothered me, and this was surprising, I guess I didn't think this would happen, was I was so out of breath, right? And I pick up the gun and I was shooting my platypus. Thing's got a safety on it, right? Because it's a single action gun, so it's got an external manual safety on it. I picked it up to shoot, and a couple times, I ran out of ammo, right? So I ran out of ammo, and I'm over there smashing the trigger, trying to take the next shot. And I'm like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? It's like my brain wasn't functioning. I was worried about breathing. All the blood's running to your heart. And so, and actually, that's a good demonstration if you talk about what happens in a defensive situation. Your heart rate is elevated. All the blood's running to the major organs of your body, the organs needed to keep you alive. And so you lose that dexterity. You lose some of that manipulation with your hands. And I noticed that. I went down there and I picked up the gun, right? And a couple things happened. First of all, the safety was on. It wasn't working. I forgot to take the safety off, right? I haven't trained for that. That is an odd gun for me as far as I don't normally have guns with external manual safeties on it. So I found out how I'd perform with it. Not very well if I don't take it off. And I have lightened the recoil spring in that gun just to get it more of a flat shooting gun, just kind of tweaking stuff, tuning it a little bit, messing with it. And I have a pretty light spring in there now, which the gun will function. But when I gripped that gun, because I was starving for oxygen, because I was out of breath, because my adrenaline levels were up, my heart rate was up, I had a hard time focusing. I could focus on the target and the sights, but I had a hard time focusing on the actual grip itself. Now, the grip was correct, but I had the pressures and was over gripping the gun really hard, and I put enough pressure on the slide that I actually kept the gun. From cycling correctly. I would actually slow the slide down and kind of stop that slide because I have a light recoil spring in it right now. But that just shows me I failed on the fact that I couldn't manipulate the gun as far as the pressures and the grip strength and all that stuff on that gun. That was way out of whack for me because I don't do that. Like, that never happens. It happened yesterday when I was in the middle of this carry fit thing and I was out of breath and all this stuff. So that's what I noticed for me. My manipulations were down, my dexterity, my hands were down, and I was so focused on breathing and looking at the sights and looking at the target that I just didn't think about things, right? And so that's why you want to get out and train. That shows me that you want to get out and you want to train and you want to give yourself a way to react so you can do so without having to think about it, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense, and it's not just me. I'm asking a question out to the ether here, but I'm hoping the whoever's listening, the listeners, understand what I'm saying. So I don't know, it was a pretty interesting discovery because it didn't even cross my mind that it would go that way. What crossed my mind was that my shooting was going to be all out of whack, which it was not. It was pretty good, being only pulled 2 of them out of the 28 rounds. So I was pretty happy with that. So that's what I noticed. And it's something that I wouldn't have experienced. I wouldn't have known how I was going to react if I hadn't gone out and done it. Now, let me look here, make sure that I covered everything. So, yeah, I don't know. I talked to the guys afterwards. We all went home, and we were all a little tired. And I know my arms are a little sore, mostly from that 45-pound over-the-head plate carry, right? But I look at that as it was good in the shooting aspect. It was enjoyable. It was kind of a CrossFit style workout, which I really like because it gets the heart rate up. And so I learned some stuff about my shooting, but also guess what? I got a good workout in. I mean, when you're sore the next morning, that was a better workout than what you thought. So my goal was to figure that out about shooting, maybe kick off a little bit of more interest in fitness for the guys. Because let's face it, if you're going to carry a gun on yourself, you need to be as fit as you possibly can. Now, that's going to be different for everyone. Some of us have physical limitations where we can't run fast, or we can't do this, or we can't do that. So we're superhuman strength, right? We're super strong, and that's cool, and I totally get that. But we need to be the best version of ourselves, and that's different for everyone, of ourselves that we can possibly be. When we carry the gun, we need to be able to defend our kids. We need to be able to defend our family. We need to be able to be physically capable, right? Barring any disabilities, but physically capable and healthy enough to be able to get in there and go hands-on with a threat, hands-on with a bad guy. We need to be able to possibly, sprint across the parking lot and get our kid back from someone. We need to be able to handle a firearm. And the more in shape you are, the better you can get that grip, the more you can lock up those arms really tight, the better that you can manage that recoil. Being healthy, being in shape makes you a better shooter. It just does. That's all there is to it. Now, I'll probably have more stories about this whole carry fit thing in the future because I'm going to do this again. And I would love to get a handful more people out here to just kind of check this out and see what they think. I got to figure something out though, because I have very limited equipment, and that crap is kind of expensive. I don't have enough equipment for like 12 people or anything. So I'm looking forward to sitting down, coming up with the next workout, the next carry fit workout, and seeing how that goes. But there you go. That was a day. I'm looking up here. That was a day and a week in the life of Todd here at Patriot Defense. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys have a good week. School will be getting out in the next month or so. Kiddos will be home. Take them out. Get them active. Take them shooting. Teach them a new skill. Take them fishing. Get ready for hunting season. All that good stuff. Spend time with your friends. Spend time with your kids. Spend time with your family. And let's all enjoy the summer. Once again, thanks for listening. If you listen all the time, I do appreciate it. Share it with a friend. Share it on your social media. Share it with everyone. It's free, and it's what helps this thing grow. So I do appreciate it. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.